live here from Platinum Keys Studios in Lansing, Michigan. Special shout out to my guy Michael Williams back there, man.
What's up, man?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you for having us here.
Ain't no problem.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I just want to welcome everyone out to the Black Wall Street of Lansing podcast. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these, and since that time, I believe we've grown as an organization. We've put in a key member that you'll be introduced to today that's going to help us with our goals and objectives and how we move forward in the future. Without any further delay or ado, my name is Ishmael Muhammad. Everybody calls me Brother Ishmael. I'm one of the founders of Black Wall Street of Lansing. Some of you know me as the Lansing representative for the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. I just want to say that, you know, the time we've been doing this, it's been interesting, but it's been very fruitful, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do in the future. So with that, I'll let other members introduce themselves.
All right, well, most of you guys know me as Leo Brown. I am also co-founder of Black Wall Street of Lansing. This is going on our 4th year. We started in 2020, and we became a nonprofit in 2021, I believe it was. First thing I want to say is please log on to our new Facebook page at Black Wall Street of Lansing 2024. This is a new beginning, a new start, and my background and what I've been doing for the past, since birth, basically, being dope since birth, but I'm an innovator, influencer, designer, soon to be opening up my own bar, the biggest bar here in the city of Lansing. It's 14,000 square feet. Hopefully we'll be having everything done within the next 4 to 5 months. So Lansing, it's almost done. Stay tuned. We got some good things coming. Some good things coming here at Platinum Keys too. So I'm not gonna give away everything, but I'm a disruptor when it comes to certain things in this city. A lot of you guys may know that Black Wall Street of Lansing, we push towards economics. That's the first thing that we are really trying to push with our organization, with our 501c3 nonprofit. At the same time, building relationships and a cohesiveness with networking here in the city. So if you all about networking, not this pump faking stuff, not downing one another, not competing on any level, join our organization. Join our organization because we are really, really focused. We're growing. We get new members. And you know us. I shoot from the hip, and I'm gonna continue to be who I am at all times. And I just appreciate y'all's support. So we do have something coming. We got our new think tanks coming. Shout out to Huntington Bank again for the new program that they are innovating in the city. Also, God, what else were we supposed to be talking about? But anyways, I'm gonna pass it over to one of our newest members. This brother, he's very passionate about what he does. So I'm gonna introduce my new friend and our new member of Black Wall Street of Lansing, Mr. Curtis O'Neill.
Thank you, Leo. I appreciate it, Leo, and I appreciate you, Brother Ishmael, for having me here. I just want to piggyback off what you all had said. This is a great opportunity for not only for me as a new member, and one of the things that I like to see myself as in terms of coming to Black Wall Street of Lansing is to enhance the footprint of Black Wall Street of Lansing. And what I mean by that is to grow the organization. Black Wall Street of Lansing's mission and its vision is in line with a lot of the, you see a lot of mainstream organizations with regards to increasing economic development in the African American community. I'm pleased to announce that we have, as of within this week, have grown our organization. We have a new value add to our organization, I like to add, with regards to our advisory board. And this advisory board is made up of 5 individuals from a myriad of different industry that is in regards to real estate, finance, in regards to business. We have an individual that is with the Small Business Administration, and then of course an individual with regards to real estate development. And so one of the things that we see this happening is to give our members within Black Wall Street of Lansing an opportunity to have a centralized focus. So individuals, instead of going to point A, B, C, and D, they all can come to Black Wall Street of Lansing and receive the resources that they so need in an effort to grow their organizations, as well as in an effort to grow their particular business if it's for a for-profit entity. So we're excited about that. I see my role in Black Wall Street of Lansing as a strategic operations director. These 2 gentlemen over here, Brother Ishmael Muhammad and Leo Brown, they're the founders of the organization. From day one, when I talk to these individuals, I enjoyed listening to their message with regards to making Lansing sort of a mecca for opportunity, not only for African American people, but for all people. And so that really spoke to me, and their values align with my particular values. And I said, hey, look, this is an opportunity. Let's do it. And so here we are today. And so I think, Leo, I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about, why we're here. But before, let me just talk a little bit. I'm sorry, I missed the opportunity to talk about my background and skill sets. I've been in operations for a long time. A lot of those years have been in the corrections environment, as well as in the healthcare environment. So I have 25 plus years in that correctional healthcare environment. But if I can say this, corrections and reentry. Those individuals that are returning to community is a passion of mine. I feel that those individuals need the opportunity to have the access to become successful in community. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that later on this particular podcast, with some of the initiatives that we have coming out, especially for those returning citizens or those judicially involved citizens that are coming out, because they need the opportunity to not only have access to appropriate medical and mental health treatment, but as well as appropriate housing, job opportunities, and employment. And so that's one of the initiatives that Black Wall Street of Lansing is working on. And so you all should be hearing a little bit more about that coming out here in the next, if not today, but in the next few weeks. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Anything you want to add?
Just to kind of follow up on that, and we can all speak on this. Like, what is the impact? What's the overall impact we trying to have on our community or on the Lansing community? I know you mentioned those returning from incarceration. Mm-hmm. We know that that's always a big issue, and that's always been a struggle for them. Mm-hmm. And I know that's one issue that we'll talk about that mm-hmm. a little bit later. But in what other impacts are we trying to have on the community?
Well, first of all, this is we don't want to keep recreating the wheel. We speak on that all the time. It's a lot of organizations here in the city that I see that we all need to be working together. That's one thing we need. The impact of us coming together as one unit. I've been saying it for years. I know it's a repeated record, but the biggest thing is having an economic system that at the end of the night, what time is it now? Is it 6? It's 7 o'clock? The black community is broke right now. We don't even have, you get what I'm saying? So what we want to do is have a networking hub to where we are spending our dollars with each other, so that we can create an economic system that can create a stronghold for our communities. And once you got that, the next thing we're going after is the political power. So that's one of the impacts that we want to have with Black Wall Street of Lansing, and I learned that from Dr. Claude Anderson.
You know, Leo, you're absolutely right, with that. And so, Brother Ishmael, you talk about impacts. And so when I think about impacts, I think about a system of power, right? So, one of the things I've learned, oftentimes people think power comes from, knowledge. Power may come from, just money, what have you. But really, when you look at it and you examine the whole focus of power and what it is that Black Wall Street Lansing is trying to accomplish, is that we're trying to accomplish power through organized people and organized money. And when you put those two together, you have power. So a lot of people may differ with me on this, but I will challenge them with regards to look at if you look at the political parties in the United States, they're organized people and organized money.
Correct.
They have power that can influence communities. When you look at, for example, Apple, organized people, organized money. They have power to challenge the market with regards to technology. So that's something that we're trying to do with Black Wall Street of Lansing. If we can get people together, organize in such a way that where we can influence, and then through monetary gains of those particular types of things, we can change the landscape and be able to navigate a little bit more effectively in the Lansing community to affect the change that we want to see, especially around economics.
Right. I absolutely, I agree with that 100%. And I think even, as Black Wall Street of Lansing, one impact that we've talked about and that we've been trying to have a greater impact is something we talked about earlier, you mentioned earlier, which is entrepreneurship.
Yes,
when you talk about economics, when you talk about economic growth and development, you say organized people and organized money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. See, you can have organized people, which we have.
Yeah.
We just don't have no money, or we don't have money spent in the right direction.
Correct.
We don't have organized money.
Correct.
That's why, like you just made the comment. When you look at other communities, how many times the dollar circulates, and in our community, it's like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So we got money. Black people have nearly $2 trillion in spending power.
Wow.
Yep.
But only spend, I think it's 2 to 3% within their own communities. So as long as we have that type of mindset, and this is an impact that we want to have, is to educate.
Correct.
Sir.
To the value and to the power that you have, and then come out with the connections, as you said, to make that power a reality.
Correct.
So when you have $2 trillion and you're spending 2 or 3%, and I think I said this on our other podcast before, if you're working every day and if I'm taking 97% of your paycheck,
Yeah.
no wonder you're in poverty.
Yeah.
No wonder you're begging.
Exactly.
No wonder you're asking.
Exactly.
And that's the condition that our community finds itself in. And as you mentioned, we look for a politician to get us out of it.
Yeah.
We mad, Donald Trump gonna do this and Biden ain't doing that and so on and so. It's always somebody.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
When in reality, if we looked within our own community,
Right.
and if we had that, if our group can have that type of impact where we can take a person who has an idea, and
Right.
as you said, one-stop shop.
Yeah.
We can take you from idea to product.
Exactly.
And as we do that, we get economics, jobs are created, and then we'll find ourselves in that position where now politically we're a player.
Absolutely. And and Ishmael, you really touched upon something, and so when I'm hearing you talk, I'm hearing two frames here. And it comes to mind. I think of generational poverty, right? And that's what a lot of people in our community find themselves into right now, generational poverty. And then I think of situational poverty, right? So oftentimes when you listen to these news channels, you hear, or documentaries, you hear about, oh, my dad came from this particular country and he had language barriers, he had $10 to his name, but he made something for himself. What's you guys' problem? right? What's
Exactly,
your property,
exactly.
right? And it's really important to sort of demonstrate the two, right? When you look at situational property, is one of those things where you have a language barrier, right? But you have skill sets, right? You have a supporting family. You may find yourself lost in the job, and you may not have money at that particular time, but you have support. You have certain skill sets and people willing to work with you. So when you look at generational property, those individuals don't have skill sets, right? They don't have the skill sets. They don't have a family to be able to support them because they don't have the money, and then they may not have the education, right? So those individuals find themselves in that generational poverty, particular issue. And I like to say this: we know a lot of those people. Those people exist in our community, right? Those people exist in our community. But one of the really big things is that, there's also with the generational poverty is there's this sense of entitlement. And I like to sort of talk a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about entitlement, what I mean is that it's no matter how hard I work, no matter how hard I go to school and get good grades, I am not going to be able to rise above my situation. So why try? Mm-hmm. It's somebody else's fault. Mm-hmm. It's somebody else's fault. Mm-hmm. It may be mama's fault. It's my daddy's fault. It's the man's fault. It's the establishment's fault. It's this political party's fault. Mm-hmm. It's not my fault. And what Black Wall Street of Lansing is so focused on is about saying, hey, look, we
got the power.
We got the power. The power comes from within.
Right.
The power comes from within. We have to hold our own selves accountable.
Right.
Correct.
And so, to be able to break those, those lines of generational poverty, and so it's really sort of switching on that mindset. Mm-hmm. Take that poverty mindset off, take that hat off, and then put on that millionaire mindset. Right. But that takes exercise. That takes time. Yeah. And that's what we're going to talk about here today.
Yeah. And I think, one thing that we want to do is have those examples so that when people have that, I can't.
Right.
Well, I know somebody that did it.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I'm saying? And you know how we think. Somebody gets something, I want that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And it kind of breaks those barriers because, when you talk about other groups, one thing that they have that we're not strong in is cultural unity.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And that's part of the brainwashing that's been done to us, mm-hmm. to make us think individualistic mm-hmm. instead of culturally. To where, I'm trying to think, I can't remember who said it, but they said, it might have been Claude Anderson or Dr. Fraser, somebody said, we have this microwave mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we want everything right now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And when we get it right now, we're not necessarily building anything for the future.
Yeah.
So every generation is like recreating the same cycle.
Recreating the wheel.
Same cycle. And when other cultures, when they come to America, they automatically have a support for each other.
Right.
And we've all heard the stories where you have some people from other countries, they'll put 10 of them in an apartment.
Yeah.
And you look back another year or two, they own the whole building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what cultural unity does.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can say racism or slavery or whatever really broke down in us.
Right. But
that village mentality.
But you're absolutely right, and you're touching on a lot of the points of a millionaire mindset, right? One of the things that Leo, you and I do a lot of talk about this millionaire mindset, right? We were just talking about a book by a gentleman by the name, some of you guys may know him as 50 Cent, but he's known as Curtis Jackson, right? You just wrote a book not too long ago called Hustle Harder.
Hustle Harder.
And in that book, he talks about that, 50 Cent is his, is his media personality.
Right.
Correct.
But Curtis Jackson is somebody that's totally different. Curtis Jackson is a man that's focused. He's a man that is built, looking to build corporations and, empower. But the thing that you touched on was something that he also had touched on too. We in a generation poverty, a lot of them focus on the right now, the immediate gratification. The immediate gratification. The millionaire mindset says what we're going to do is we're going to look at the future.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that means that, hey, look, I am for 8 years, 5 years, we're going to struggle. We're going to save our money. And we're going to look at our money, and we're going to hold on to this particular dollar, and then we're going to go over there and buy that, right? But, individuals that live in generational poverty, right? The poor mindset says, I need something right here now.
Right now.
And when you have that particular mindset, it goes back to what you all were saying. That dollar doesn't stay in your community.
No.
It leaves.
No.
Because you're focused on the here and now, and you're not focused on the future.
On the future.
And that's one of the things that we need to be able to do. So I think that's one of the principles of a millionaire mindset. Being able to set goals that are realistic. That's number one.
Say that again. Say that again.
Being able to set goals that are realistic. You're right. And that's a lot of us, we set goals, right? Ain't nothing wrong with setting goals. But we set goals that are not really realistic.
Right.
Right? We have to, one of the things that we have to do, we have to live in the real world.
Reality
right?
of it
We have
all.
to live in reality. There's an ideology.
Yeah.
And I love ideology.
Right.
But there's a reality.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So and that's one of the things I speak on all the time about my post about dreaming bigger. And we want people to dream bigger. And here at Black Wall Street and Lansing, we are for the entrepreneurs. So that's why, we have these think tanks all the time to kind of fine tune things and be a hub and a resource and a networking unit. So if you do have ideas, you can build with like minds, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that I thrive on, because that was done in my community years ago with mentors and and just me being in the industry, being around certain people, it just made me I was a sponge, man. I borrowed from everybody. I borrowed from everybody, and I'm still am. I'm still learning. But this panel right here we're gonna grow this panel. So I want a lot of people to know that we're gonna have more guests on this stage. We're gonna grow this organically. We're gonna have our Dr. Claude Andersons and.
Reach out for all of them.
We're going to reach out to as many people as we can to bring those people here to speak. The brothers from Earn Your Leisure. So this is just the beginning. Like I told you, this is the baby stages of our organization. And if you want to become a member, we have a website. And membership fee starts off at $25. We updated that today with Kayline Pay. So that's another hungry individual entrepreneur. She does graphic design and whatnot. So shout out to Kayline Pay. She's a member of Black Wall Street and Lansing. So we have 3 different packages on our website. $25 to be a basic member. We have one that's for $50, and if you want the whole golden package, that's up to $250 for that package right there. But it's a whole summary of what we do for you and your business, like giving you special shout outs on Black Wall Street, our new page, Black Wall Street Lansing 2024. Ribbon cuttings. You'll have a month worth of posting of your products on our page. There's so much more on there. I can't just break everything down because we're speaking on this, but
if I can sort of piggyback off what you're saying, and that's is what we had sort of talked about earlier on. We have that new advisory board, right?
Yes, sir.
And that advisory board, again, if you're interested in becoming a member of Black Wall Street of Lansing, it is an advisory board of five particular, new members, and they have access to finance, real estate development, and business development, helping you with your business plans, these particular types of things. And it's a centralized location. It's a centralized place where you can come. And we're looking to do these particular workshops. We call them workshops, once a month. We will name what those workshops are at. on the web page. It gives you an opportunity to come in with a business plan. And if you don't have a business plan, you can meet with an individual that can help you build your business plan, and then also sort of funnel you through in an effort to help you get the financial resources that you need. So long gone are the days where you have to go over to this particular place that's maybe across the town, or this particular place that's, you know, on the other side of town. You can have a one-stop centralized location, and where you can get your business plan looked at, and then you can, you know, in an effort to build your business. And this is one of the value adds that Black Wall Street of Lansing offers. It's something that, you know, may not, you know, other organizations may not offer. So we boast that. We're proud of that. And in addition to that, we're looking at building new initiatives within the Black Wall Street of Lansing, especially around those individuals, those returning citizens that are coming back into the community. Entrepreneur program, right? Mentorship program. And the great thing about this is what we're looking to do with the returning citizens is create what we call a Tippler program. And what that is that as a peer-led program, if you guys are familiar with like Alcohol Anonymous, or like, you know, where you have a sponsor, you know, this particular program will have, you know, individuals that just probably ended up getting out of prison, and sort of be able to work with, sort of serve as a mentor.
Mentorship.
Yeah,
Yes,
a
sir.
mentor, and help them to be able to guide, to engage in certain things, you know. And why is that entrepreneur program so important for those individuals, for those justice or judicial involved individuals? Why? Because when most individuals get out of prison or get out of a correctional center, they go look for a job, right? And so when they look for a particular job, oftentimes they find themselves being turned away because of their felony convictions or their sentence of incarceration. So there's not a lot of faith there. So one of the things that we want to do is say, hey, look, what skill sets do you have?
Absolutely.
What resources do you have? And let's look at trying to build a business for you. So like, for example, and this is a quick example, I'm sort of spitballing here. An individual has $100 in his pocket. He may have a lawnmower. Well, have you thought about mowing lawns? Let's help you market your lawn mowing company. Right. I know an individual personally. I know an individual personally who did that very same thing, and he grew his business into a fleet of Ishmael shaking his head, because Ishmael know what I'm talking about, right? And he was very successful, ended up selling that business for quite a bit of money, right? So these things can be done, and so we want to teach people to build, you know, to have their own dreams instead of living somebody else's dream.
Correct.
And that point that you made about our membership, and I just kind of tied that into that, is that, you know, one of the benefits of being a member is that you have access to these type of people.
Yes.
See, I know from me personally, and I know from other people, the process can be intimidating.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're talking about getting capital, and most of us, these are new terms to us.
Yeah.
Some of the things we hear, and you know, business plan and projections, and so we just be like, oh, forget it.
Yeah.
I just, you know, keep hustling.
Yeah.
You know, but in reality, and also when you hear, when somebody says to you, you know, you need to go to XYZ bank and you can get blah 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 blah. A lot of us, and we have a defeatist mindset.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're not gonna give nobody looking like me a loan.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't give our people loans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you might have some legitimacy to that,
Yeah.
maybe from your experience.
Yeah.
But one thing that our organization wants to be able to do is make that connection.
Correct.
Because we have people who are in finance, banks, credit unions, who want to work with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so we can be the group that funnels, takes away the intimidation,
Right.
and when there's obstacles put in your way, we have the people who can help you with those obstacles.
Correct.
See, and I think that's the big benefit
Of us being a resource.
of us being a resource.
Yeah,
Being a
that's correct.
resource.
Is that we want to be able to make those type of connections so
Correct.
people can get over their fear, get over the intimidation, get over the hesitancy, and also have a greater chance for success. Because if we're recommending people to you,
Right.
then chances are the bank, the credit union knows that we think well of you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, and you know, when we talk about America, it ain't always about what you know,
Yeah.
It's about
but who you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I think, you know, our membership can offer that type of benefit
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
And hold on, the thing I was gonna say too is, don't be afraid of getting these loans nowadays, y'all. If y'all go back in time, I said it, you know, a while back, a couple years back, the PPP loans, the scams and all that stuff is over. I told y'all, it's a wrap. So now, what did you do with the money? What did you do with the come up, the so-called reparations that they gave us for a hot minute? You get what I'm saying? So where are we now? Do we have our own grocery stores? You get what I'm saying? Do we have our own credit unions? What did you make? What did you create during those times? I know what I did.
Yeah.
So
And that whole conversation that you talk about
Yeah.
reparations, that's for
yeah,
that's for
that's
another
another day.
That's for another
Yeah, I know it's for
time.
another day. But you get my point, though.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah, you get my point. So
100%.
that's just one thing that a lot of people don't understand. Is just like, you got to make sure that you have something that you can fall back on to pour into. A lot of us is not pouring into our dream like that. Like, you got to learn how to stay off social media for a while. Learn how to sacrifice. Learn how to just disappear for a few years, a month, 6 months, you know, a year, and just grind it out, and then come back with something. Reinvent yourself. I dare you. I dare you to disappear from your friends for about a good two years or so, and have a strategic plan, and just be building on the low. Because that's what I had to do. I had a lot of sacrifices that I had to make to be in order to even fund my new project. You get what I'm saying? It takes a lot.
It takes work.
It takes a lot, and I'm not done yet. You get what I'm saying?
And I also think that's, you know, like-minded people need to hang out together.
Most definitely.
See, and by us having mixers and think tanks, if you're that type of person that's, as I like to say, you know, you're standing on the porch,
Yeah.
and sometimes we get right up to the edge of the porch, but we never jump off.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, Ishmael, you know, touched on a really good point, and and I like this conversation because there's a lot of things that are coming out,
Yes.
right? You know, I heard Les Brown say something. And for you all that remember Les
Yes,
Brown,
yes.
That's my
you
guy.
know, the motivational speaker. But he said something. He said, look in the room, and he says, look at your friends. And if you're the smartest person in the room amongst
Right.
your friends,
Right.
you
You
need to get some new friends or get out that room.
Get out that room.
Right, you're in the wrong room.
That's right.
Yeah.
So and that's one of the things that we tend to do, right? That's part of that generational poverty mindset, right?
Yes, sir.
But the millionaire mindset seeks out individuals that are maybe smarter than them or may have a different perspective, right? And that's one of the things that that we need to do, right? As as a collective, right?
Right.
Need to be comfortable with other people that may know a little bit more than you do,
Absolutely.
right?
It's
Or have a
typical.
different perspective,
Absolutely.
right? Leo, we were not too long ago we were in a room with individuals that had different perspectives, and they had a wide array of resources. And it was enlightening to
Yeah.
be around these particular individuals that had that different perspective, because that made us sharper.
Right.
And we sort of knew that by having these individuals, working with these individuals, if we didn't know something in a certain area, we can go to these particular individuals. And that's one of the things that we have to get comfortable with, is learning about other people's perspectives. I intentionally, in an effort to learn more, for example, we all talk about politics, right? There's some of us, that may be Democrat, some of us that may be Republican, some of us that may be independent. And so you'll find individuals that may be Democrat tend to listen to CNN. Those individuals that may be conservative Republican are going to listen to Fox News, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's wrong with listening to both? What's wrong with listening to both to get perspective from both? That way you're well educated, you're well rounded, and you know how to engage in a particular argument. You become, in effect, more educated. And so that's one of the things that we have to do in an effort to maintain that millionaire mindset, right? We just can't focus on what we know. We got to focus on what we don't know.
What you don't know.
And so, which is important. Which is important.
I like to just, say a little bit about that because I've seen this example lived out, and I'm sure you probably have too, where there was, without giving the whole business and the whole story, what it really came down to was buying and selling. All legal. I ain't talking about nothing crazy. But the guy, he had a certain lane he liked to buy in, and he was selling that lane, and he was very comfortable with that. Well, you know how people like to sometimes hoard their business idea?
Yeah.
So he didn't want nobody else really to know what he was doing and da-da-da-da. But eventually somebody else found out, and he saw them as competition. But so he just kind of let it go and said, okay, But he watched them. What they bought and what they sold was in a totally different lane than him. He didn't see the opportunity because he was so focused on what he was doing.
Right.
See, and that's the advantage of talking to other people. Like you said, when we're Democrat, we watch MSNBC exclusively.
Yeah, exclusively.
And when you're a Republican, you watching Fox. Almost exclusively. And if you're independent, you might look at a little CNN. You know what I mean?
You go to NPR or something.
NPR. But the guy said, I never knew what I was missing until I quit focusing on me, on my opinion, on what I thought was valuable. In other words, he had to. Sometimes when we're a little successful, it's hard for us to be humble enough to keep growing because we got something that makes us comfortable and we stop right there. But when you're in a group, when you have the camaraderie, or when you're coming to think tanks and you're talking to people, your mind is actually being stimulated. Because I know, just for myself, I learned from listening to other people about avenues that I thought wouldn't work. But now I see somebody doing it. So I'm like, oh, let me expand what I got going on. I got to do a little more homework. I got to do a little more this to get, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the possibilities are there. You know what I mean? If we just open ourselves up to it.
I had a situation that took place. As a matter of fact, I wanted to say about it today, as a matter of fact. And this is called, I think, goes back to your point. This is called being humble. There's enough pie and cake to go around for everybody. We understand that business is competition. We live in a capitalistic community, right? Live in a capitalistic country. But there's nothing wrong with helping others who may need a little help navigating that space.
There you go.
Now, I'm not saying that we tell them all our trade secrets. I'm not saying you tell them all their trade secrets. I'm not telling them where you keep it. This person over there, this is, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, in terms of giving back, which is also a millionaire mindset too. That's right. In terms of giving back, there's nothing wrong with sharing with people about, go over here, or this is a particular resource. When you see somebody about to fall off the cliff, there's nothing wrong with yelling and saying, "Hey, stop! Go over here." And that's something that a lot of us are afraid to do. We keep things sometimes a little bit too tight. I believe in relationships. Just like with you brothers, I believe in our relationships is reciprocal. It is not 100%. You doing for me 100% of the time, and I never do for you. It's about 50%. When there's opportunities for me to give back to you and invest in you, you give back to me and invest in me. It's like my wife. My wife is my wife and family is my biggest investment.
Absolutely.
They my biggest investment, right? People say, well, is it your house? Is it your car? No, it's my wife and family. It's my kids. Because they invest in me, and guess what? I invest in them.
That's right.
And so it's about having that reciprocal relationship, which is another principle, millionaire mindset principle that we need to start practicing amongst ourselves.
Let me just kind of not pivot it, but just kind of go in a little different direction. 'Cause we could stay on this topic forever. We'll be here. The man be done kicked us out.
Yeah, probably so.
Once again, shout out to brother Mike Williams from Platinum Keys. He's gracious enough to let us be here.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We had another think tank at the Comfort Zone, so shout out to the owners of the Comfort Zone.
Yeah.
It's been about 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
It was about two weeks.
2 weeks.
I just want to ask you both, what were some of your takeaways from that think tank?
Man, it was a nice environment. I think that when I smoke cigars from time to time. I'm a cigar smoker. I like smoking cigars. I like my cigars and everything. But it was nice to be able to meet with Steve, who's the owner of the Comfort Zone, be able to go in his shop and purchase cigars. But what was also equally nice was that that there was a good representation of African American people that were there, and people that were patronizing his establishment. And there was opportunity for us to fellowship and have a good time. But what was also equally nice is to see the number of entrepreneurs at the Comfort Zone. For the award ceremony that we had with Black Wall Street of Lansing. A lot of young people engaging in a lot of various business space, new business space. And the welcome reception that we had, and like you had talked about, there was a synergy that was created amongst like-minded people to build, right? And so there was a lot of conversation, a lot of networking opportunities, right?
Yeah.
A lot of card sharing, phone number swapping, things of that particular nature that I thought was really welcome.
The biggest thing I got from there is we really are growing. That was what I took from that whole thing about, for me it was Huntington Bank linking up as a collaboration and using our platform for a resource for capital, because that's what it's all about, just growing from there. I think that was one of our best think tanks, man. Really. We had some good entrepreneurs of the month, and we're gonna have some more. We already got our next 4 already lined up.
We got to discuss them.
We're discussing. We're discussing, and
So don't mention no names.
No, we ain't gonna mention no names. We'll be reaching out to y'all though. But I mean, just the networking thing. Just we're growing. That's what I see. I just like the fact that we keep growing. What about you, brother?
I think both your points, the growth, the environment, and all of that, which was good, the number of people. But I think one of my key takeaways was the financial piece. And that's something that I know a lot of people, like I mentioned earlier, are intimidated by.
Yeah.
If you weren't there, if you were there, you had a chance to hear about a program, to meet the people in charge of the program,
yes,
and make that contact.
Right then and there.
Right then and there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? So if you were serious about getting financing, and then just to hear their commitment.
Yeah.
Hey, if you get stuck, we'll help you.
Correct.
If your credit's not good, you can go this route and we'll help you. So just the service that was offered to take away the excuses.
Yeah.
That's what's really impressed me was, man, if I'm sitting here trying to get some dough, and I got a 580 credit score, and everybody done turned me down, I got a lifeline.
You got a lifeline.
You know what I'm saying? And how like with Huntington Bank, how she said that you could go through a training.
Yes.
That would at the end of it, you got a great chance of being qualified.
Right.
And then from that think tank, I found out about You know, Case has a similar program, and then I heard about it. And I've heard since that think tank, I've heard maybe 3 or 4 places that have similar programs
Trying to help entrepreneurs.
trying to help entrepreneurs, and particularly minority
Minorities.
entrepreneurs.
Right.
You know, and even a friend of mine, or you know, he's not really a friend of mine, but we know he's a business acquaintance. You know, we kind of talk every now and then, and he's sending me stuff because he does. You know, he's got his business. He's always looking for capital.
Right.
Always looking for capital. And he'd be like, man, you can get this. You can down in Georgia. You can do this, and he's getting capital from different all over the country.
Wow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that's, you know, I guess that's a resource that I'm looking forward to getting organized and bringing into us.
Right.
So if you can't get it local, baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole lot more going on than just Lansing.
Right.
If you can't get it in Lansing.
Right.
But I guess, you know, that was one of my takeaways was, you know, just the opportunity that people had to make their dream come true.
Right.
To get
Right.
that money if that's what they're lacking, but also to meet an accountant, to meet somebody who does business planning, to meet some of the political people.
Right. And you know, I had a boss some time ago. He told me years ago. He had said, Curtis, you know, 80% of success is just showing up, just being in the room. He said 80% of success is just being in the room. And so I say that to to you all out there that if you want to be successful, you can't be successful behind the screen. You can't be successful on the couch. You got to be in the room. You got to be there at the meeting. You have to open your mouth.
You better keep coming to these think tanks.
Yeah,
The minute we post our think tanks, you better be there.
Well,
this is gonna be rare that you keep seeing me like this. I'm telling you, 'cause it's gonna be rare.
And the old saying is, right? The old saying is, this is something I learned too from a person I work with. She used to say to me all the time, she said, Curtis, closed mouth don't get fed. Don't get fed.
Don't get fed.
And so, and I tell my kids this all the time. And so if they're out there listening, they can hear me say this all the time. I say, look, y'all, manna don't fall down from heaven no more.
No.
Manna don't fall down from heaven. You have to get out there. You have to work. You have to get out there and get it. Right? So that's the way it works. So, but that's interesting.
We will be announcing our next think tank soon. Okay, so stay tuned. Don't miss it. Go ahead, Ishmael.
Okay, I don't know how long y'all want to go with this.
How much time we been going for, brother?
As long as you won't put it that way.
Okay, I know we kind of spoke on working with like underserved, less desirable, as some people would say, populations. That's something that I think that we'll focus on. What do you think about having think tanks around that one particular issue? That's something that we want to do.
What particular issue again?
Working with, like when Brother Curtis was talking about those returning from incarceration.
Oh yeah.
Having a think tank around that.
With expungements and whatnot.
Right. To help them get their records clean, help them get I'm saying it to say this, and I didn't know this, but there's a lot of companies that will hire ex-felons.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know there's some major companies.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I was always, because most people have the attitude, once you get locked up, you get a felony, it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you got the uphill road forever.
Right. But I'll say this. I'll speak to a little bit about that too, Brother Ishmael and Leo. One of the things that this country is finding itself now into is that we can no longer incarcerate ourselves, no longer convict and charge ourselves out of the social issues that we find ourselves into right now. Right now, we're in the trend right now where criminal justice reform is favorable amongst both parties, both Democrats and Republicans. The thinking of building more prisons or incarcerating more people, that thinking is long gone. And the focus now is around reentry, transitional program, and focusing on those returning to community sentence individuals. Why is that? because this country pays too much money out.
Yes,
It
right.
shoulders too much. State budgets are crippled. You know, when you look at Michigan, Illinois, I think the third largest budget is corrections.
Right.
That's money that could be going to infrastructure, money that could be going to healthcare, right? And so now now you're looking at those individuals getting out of prison, but now let's look at those people that are on the streets, those people that you talked about, underserved, underprivileged. Those individuals are there's a lot of shouldering for those individuals because they're burdening state budgets, right? And so there's a real big need to work with those individuals, to get those individuals off the streets, teach those individuals job skills training, and make them become more viable citizens in our community.
Right.
Because those are tax dollars that are going to them, to them. And guess what? At the end of the day, that's somebody's brother, somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's aunt. And we need to do all that we can do in an effort to work with those individuals.
Correct.
I agree 100%.
I agree.
I agree.
You do.
One thing I kind of want to go back, something we kind of touched on before that, when I asked about our last think tank, and you mentioned young people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been noticing, because I've been kind of just peeping around, asking questions. There's a lot of young people in Lansing doing some nice things.
Yes, sir.
A lot of young entrepreneurs
Yes, sir.
that, and I just find that very encouraging.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the stat that I mentioned earlier about, we spend nearly $2 trillion and only 2 to 3% of that stays in our community.
Wow.
Well, that same study said that if we spent 10% of our money in our own community, and this was a national thing, that we could create millions of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So you just think about that. By itself, all small business entrepreneurs, I believe to account for like 65%
Wow.
of all new jobs.
Wow. Wow.
So if you think about it, we could really change the whole political, economic landscape of Lansing just through entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if we pour into our young people,
Yeah.
and this is what other communities do,
Right.
They pour into their young people,
Yeah.
and then it might take 20 years, but it'll be done.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes we just want what we can see. That's what we want to do, what I can benefit from now.
Right.
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 I think our organization is, and we had talked about this before, building a legacy.
Correct.
See,
Right.
we need to think legacy.
Right. Exactly.
And that millionaire mindset
Yeah.
is good,
Yeah.
but you got to have a legacy.
Absolutely.
Because a million will come and a million will go.
Yes, sir.
How many people we know? I know a few. They might not have been big million, but they had a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
They had some money.
They had some paper.
Yeah.
And now they're not doing so well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we need to build that legacy, and we need to pour in to our young people.
Right.
And that's one thing I would like to see us do is to have programs for them.
Right. Right.
I've spoken with some people in the banking and in the finance world about that. I said, don't you know that most of our young people, especially our young black youth, they get a bad rap.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're made to seem to be this, that, and a lot of that is social, and I get it, and that's something we can talk about, social engineering.
Yeah, that's something on
It's a
totally
whole
different
other
thing, yeah.
topic. But I
Yeah.
see them, they're not, nothing wrong with them mentally,
Right.
Yeah.
they're being engineered wrong.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
They're being engineered to self-destruction.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is to try to change the mindset.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing good things and nobody's talking about it,
Right. Right.
see, the reason why they do things that we say bad is because everybody's talking about it.
Right.
Right.
So the mentality becomes, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But if we can start highlighting and celebrating, I don't care if it's just cutting grass.
Right.
I don't care if it's baking cakes
Right.
We need to celebrate these young people.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that they grow up and they
yeah.
become the employers. They take
Right.
a few and then
Right.
they take a few and they hire a few. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
You know, absolutely. And I know Leo in the past, and I know that you still, like for example, Lansing Lions, right? Leo, you're a coach. You've been coaching for years. Working with these young people, these young boys, young girls, with regards to wrestling. And a big part, you and I are both, former wrestlers.
Yes,
we
sir.
wrestled for years.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm glad to hear that my son is wrestling. He owes him that. You had an opportunity to coach him too. But a big part of that, right, is seeing the greatness in a young person and
Correct.
speaking to them and spending time with that particular person. So like what Brother Ishmael was saying, it's about pouring in. And I like to say there's like what I think of is a lot of scholarly warriors out there right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
These individuals possess the warrior mindset, but they don't need to, they don't know what to do with all that energy, right?
Right.
Wouldn't it be nice for an organization such as ours to be able to pull these individuals and say, hey, look, we see your athleticism. We see that,
Leadership.
Yeah, your leadership, and we want to teach you how to be entrepreneurs. And that's a great thing. And I would just share this with you one time. And one of the things that we probably really need to look at, work with young people, especially is in the areas of coding, right? Coding. There was a story that was told to me not too long ago. A gentleman goes to the high school and he says, hey, how many of you guys have a cell phone, right? All the young, African American kids in the class raise up their phone. How many of you guys downloaded an app? All of them raised their hand and said they downloaded an app. And he says, let me ask you a question. How many of you guys uploaded an app? No hand went up. No hand went up. We need to start making more Mark Zuckerbergs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be able to focus on, right? Remember Trayvon Martin had a hoodie on, right? But Mark Zuckerberg had the same hoodie on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was his trademark.
Yeah, that was his trademark. A hoodie and flip-flops. We need to start making more Zuckerbergs, right?
Yeah.
People that look like Trayvon, more like Zuckerberg. Let's start uploading apps instead of downloading apps.
Right.
That's my thinking.
Right. And that's
No, you said no. You're speaking good. It's just that one of my things is what I see in the community. We got to give the kids something to respect,
Right.
and that's the reason why they doing what they do, because the community we got to uphold each other too, and that's gonna be for another topic. But brother, you go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna, horseback off you. And that is our young people. They have so much brilliance in them.
They do.
They have so much genius in them, and they're fearless.
Yeah.
They just don't have guidance.
Yeah.
And some of them don't have hope.
Yeah.
No.
And that's the
Resources.
So like, and I was mentioning earlier, if we can, not just, but as a responsible adults, when I say we, I'm not talking just an organization.
Right.
Correct.
But if we can pour into them, and one sees something better, most of them will go with it.
Yeah.
You've been in sports,
Yeah.
right? I know I've coached and whatnot, and I remember one thing I would always do, and I coached basketball. There was always, most of the time when I did a lot with young men, maybe at the age of 12 to 15, in that age, and there's always one that's smarter than you.
Yeah. Always.
He always want to find the shortcuts. He always want to do this, always want to do that, and they used to always frustrate me because they usually were one of the more talented ones.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, with this mentality, ain't no coach gonna fool with you past high school.
Right.
You're gonna get into college with this mentality.
Yeah. Right.
And one thing I learned, and I remembered this from my training, when I was a young man, you take that one who is the most maybe a little rebellious or just thinks he's really a little bit smarter than you, you make him your best friend on the team.
Yeah.
See, most coaches want to break him.
Yeah.
Don't do it, and you break it. No, you make him your best friend.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's driving everybody else.
Yeah.
See, so young people will respond to successful young people.
Yeah.
We can talk to them till we blue in the face.
Right.
But we need to give them a platform where they can shine.
Right. Exactly.
And once we do that, I think you'll find a lot more coming in.
Yeah.
But that's something that, you know.
Hey, you hear that, don't you, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right. You already know what time it is.
You know, that's something else we can do. You know, I mean, I got maybe one more topic just to kind of wrap it up because we've been here, I know, at least an hour or so.
It's going on an hour.
Okay, so.
But but sometimes when you're talking amongst friends, it don't feel like.
Nah,
you know what I mean? You just sort of you just go ahead and talk on forever, you know.
Yeah. So let me just put this out. I mean, what are some of the? Well, let's let the people know what are some of our goals. I know we kind of talked about it. I mean, if we can kind of concretize it to give them a takeaway, you know, what would you say our goals are?
You want to go for it?
Yeah, I think one of our goals is to I talked early on, I think at the top of the hour, top of this podcast, and talked about creating power, right? And the only way that we're going to be able to create power, affect policy, drive economic development, and get those dollars that we need in an effort to do that is through organized people and organized money. And so the question begins is how do you do that? Well, we need more members. And it needs to be something that we can sort of, work together in an effort to address some of those things that we talked about, policy, economic development, those particular types of things. And so I think that's one of our goals, to enhance our footprint throughout Lansing. One of the things that I like to see us do as Black Wall Street of Lansing is become a coalition builder. I think that's big, and work with other Black Wall Streets throughout the state in an effort to address issues around policy, and then of course address issues in BIPOC communities. Right, concerns in BIPOC communities. Currently, right now, we have a number of food deserts, right? In our Black and brown communities. And then there's what I'm also learning. There's food swamps. People say, "What's a food swamp?" Right? Well, you know what a food desert is. There's no grocery stores in the community. But a food swamp is where there are the food is not adequate to eat. Expired food, no produce,
Junk food.
Hot Cheetos. And nothing wrong with eating hot Cheetos. I eat some hot Cheetos every now and then myself.
What? Really?
My wife don't. My wife don't like it though. But food swamps, right? We need to be addressing some of those issues. Issues around housing disparities. Black Wall Street of Lansing can play a role in that. But the only way we're going to be able to do that is that we have to have a power in an effort to do that.
One of my goals is to, like I said, the cohesiveness within our communities, more minority-owned businesses, so where we can shop with one another. Because if they create one of these pandemics again, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Where are you gonna get your medicine from? Where you gonna get your food from? Where you gonna get your clothing from? Where you gonna get your electricity from? So those are the things that I focus on when it comes to Black Wall Street Lansing, not for today but for the future of what if can happen. And those are the goals that I kind of think is most needed for our community.
I agree with all that. I really don't have a whole lot more to add to that. I just think that our goal is to serve, and our goal is to be that resource. In a perfect world, as you mentioned earlier, we've all mentioned, we could be that one-stop shop.
Yes, sir.
We can make those connections for people that have ideas that need capital, people that have ideas that need resources, people that have ideas that need mentorship. and we could be that resource for our community,
Yes.
so that when they interact with us, they can see something become a reality.
Yeah.
Or they can get on the path to make it a reality.
Yes, sir.
And then in turn, they want to help the next group, the next person, get to where they got.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and just, you kind of mentioned it, and I just want to hit this last point and just say, and just kind of make it plain, so it's, are we open to working with other like-minded people that we share goals with?
Absolutely.
I just want to make it plain.
Yep. Absolutely.
I just want to make it plain.
Yep.
So, and also that includes local, and like you mentioned, there's other groups like Black Wall Street or Black Wall Street groups.
Yep.
We're wanting to make those connections too,
Yep.
because like I said, resources are available all over.
Right. And I think collaboration is key. I mean that's so important. If your values align with Black Wall Street or Lansing's values, there's no reason why we can't work together. Again, there's enough pie and cake out there to be able to be shared.
Right.
And then not only that, but maybe that other group brings resources that we don't have, and we have resources that they don't have.
Correct.
We work together in an effort to build, and I like to call it a synergy. And mobilize that synergy for the greater good of everybody.
Yep.
Yep.
But you know me, you on some foul stuff, I'm gonna expose you. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna speak my mind if you on that foolishness. So hey, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just being real. But anything else?
Yep. No, I just think this has been a healthy discussion.
Yeah.
It's only our third podcast that we've had. It's been a long time since we've had one. So I'm just thankful. It was needed.
It was needed.
I'm thankful
It was
for
needed.
it.
Appreciate you.
I thank you. We'll thank Michael Williams, the
Yes,
owner
sir.
of the brand new Platinum Keys. He done upgraded since the mall. Looking forward to having a tour.
Yeah.
And I just, appreciate your time. I'm thankful that we got this organization going, and hopefully, we'll take it to the next level.
Most
Very,
definitely.
very. We gonna take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Very soon, and have an impact on our community. So, I just want to thank you all. Thank Brother Michael from Platinum Keys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank the Comfort Zone for
Most
letting us have
definitely.
to do a think tank, and we're looking forward to bringing other people on the couch and and getting their feedback and seeing what they can offer.
Yep.
So, blackwallstreetoflansing.com is our website. If you want to become a member, we got PayPal and Cash App available on there, and our new checking account stuff will be uploaded this Friday for Black Wall Street of Lansing. So we ain't stopping. We're on the way to do great things in the city, and follow our new page, Black Wall Street of Lansing 2024.
We look forward to our next think tank too.
Yep.
We'll have that information on there.
Yep, they definitely will be on there.
All right.
Hey,
Thank you all.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
All right.
Peace.
All right.
Yep.